Hello and welcome to the weekly outlook in the DeFi Dojo. Today is April 28th and we have a new month coming. So just FYI, when we have new monthly candles starting, when we get towards the end of a month and then in the beginning day or two of the new month, things get really volatile more often than not. So we can see some large swings happening here in the next few days. As we lead into that new month, as well as beginning the next. Now, I know you've all heard the saying, sell in May and go away. This is a very popular saying. Does it mean that every May is down? No, it's just historically more Mays are down than up, and so that is where this saying has come from. I don't really like using broad overarching terms like that to say, okay, let's short the market in May. I think it's not a good idea. But things have definitely come down and cooled off over the last few weeks, right? Mostly because we saw this dollar breaking out, and now we've kind of just hovered over the weekly R1 for a few weeks now. I don't really think we're going to see this fall too far below 105. And so far, because of what the dollar's doing, I think this sell in May thing could end up being a thing this year. If we do happen to fall back below and start heading back down again, then I'm going to, kind of take this whole situation into account in that the dollar being a sideways moving asset as far as strength goes is good for markets overall. But since we broke this downtrend, markets got spooked. We saw a huge sell-off in equities a couple weeks ago, and crypto has been in a downtrend for a while as well. If we look at ES, we got exactly what we were expecting last week. If you were here, I called for a dead cat bounce after that huge red week. That's exactly what we got, right back to the 8 EMA on the weekly for ES, for NQ, same deal. We're opening up underneath the 8 EMA on NQ, and we actually opened up over the weekly EMA on ES, which is quite interesting. So you can see that we opened up above the EMA here, and so depending on where we open tomorrow morning, we'll kind of determine what I might do. I might let Monday just go and see where Monday finishes before I determine if I want to scalp anything long or short. I'm leaning short to open the week because I think that we can continue trading in between these EMAs for a little while. But if we just blast off Monday, then that's it. We're going back up. So depending on what happens tomorrow should set the course for the rest of the week. Should we, blast off Monday, then I think that we'll head up towards this 1.272 again. If you have your mic on, could you please mute yourself? Or I will just do it here. There we go. And if we, fall below, then I'll, think about maybe scalping something short to head back down towards this 50 or 5,000 level. So that's going to be how I'm playing equities. If I'm shorting something, I'm probably going to try shorting either Tesla or Nvidia, just on scalps, because those are the ones that move the most. If you're going to do something like a swing, then I like Apple long. So, because it moves slower, and right now it's kind of looking like it could be at a bottom, and I can show you that as well here. So, we have sort of some a lot of divergence going on here on the daily, as this is definitely trending down, right? And then you see all of this kind of trending up, and we're kind of maybe double bottoming here on this 382, and 382s are signs of strong trends. It's also kind of in the zone of the previous all-time highs. So it's finding support here, and Apple is Apple, and it doesn't, you don't have to worry about Apple. You just kind of buy some and let it go. But if I'm going to swing trade something, it's going to be Apple long. Besides that, I'm not really interested in much because everything else kind of looks like it's overextended, and I don't know if I want to play the game of longing something that's so high already. I'd much rather try to scalp it if I can. So let's move into crypto. Oh, also, the Dow Jones, that 1.618 is a big deal, right? And we've had 3 weeks of down, kind of little bit of a bounce, but also in between the EMAs. And so time's going to tell whether or not this is going to either roll over and give us a weekly bearish cross to head down towards, this level, or start bouncing back up and go test that 1.618 again. I'm under the general assertion that 1.618s get larger rejections than this, but it doesn't always have to be that way. We could get a little bounce up here, make like a lower high, and then head back down lower again, and again that would be over the course of weeks. So maybe May starts off a little bullish and then starts fading the rest of the month, or maybe we just continue down the rest of the month. But I don't see too much happening in upside in equities over this next month. If we get anything, it might be minor. I think that mostly people are getting a little skittish. When we look at stablecoin dominance, we've been in this downtrend, right? And this is high time frame here. This is like weekly, massive, and then we tapped that all-time trend line here months ago, and I said we might get a bounce off of that because it's always bounced off of it, and so that pretty much nailed the current top that we have on crypto. And since then we've been a little leery about where this is going. If this breaks trend, then that might get pretty scary, and it might go, golden pocket up here, 786 touch here, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the crypto bull run unless we get over, greed FOMO or fear or greed FOMO zones on this here. So 5.936% levels on USDT dominance. That's when we can start saying, okay, maybe it's it, maybe this is over. But until then, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin long term. I'm still bullish on Ethereum long term and crypto as a whole. I don't think that even if this trend breaks, I don't think that means like it's the end of the bull run. I just think we're in need for a correction, which we never got where we should have got it according to previous cycles. So looking at Bitcoin, we just closed the weekly candle underneath the weekly 8 EMA for the first time since October, which is here. So we've had a very, very long run, and this correction is much needed. I do think that we could still get a move down to 58K, which would be somewhere around, even the 21 EMA on the weekly at 56.5 could tap. But that is where you want to buy things in bull markets. You don't get many weekly EMA, 21 EMA touches. And just to kind of go back to like previous cycles, you can see here we got these, but then after that you didn't get any. Like there was none, right? So like in a bull market, a 21 EMA touch on the weekly is a gift. Like you just take it, you take your shot, you keep your stops tight. If it's going to fall below, then yeah, you're wrong. But notice how well it holds them. If we go back to previous cycles, which is the one that I think we're in, is more looking like this. You'll see that you get 21 EMA touches here, and then as soon as you break the previous all-time high, we might be getting one of these, but then it immediately gets bought back up and we continue. Here's another 21 EMA touch there. That's a gift. You want that. If it happens like this, right, maybe it's over, maybe it's not, you don't know. But as soon as you see something like that, okay, well, you're stopped out. Like it closed below. You don't want anything to do with this, so you just take a little loss. Like you don't have to suffer through this much pain to say, okay, I'm going to give up. Like just play by the rules, and the rule is close a candle below the EMAs, you're stopped out mentally, right? And then you just wait, and you just wait for the next one, and then you see there's a cross bearish here. Well, now you don't have to suffer through all of this pain, and you can just get in when they cross again, right here. Boom, get in, ride it up, stop loss under the EMAs, you get stopped out here. So you just took it from here to here, and then you wait again. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you get these false crosses and you just get stopped out right away. But what you don't do is hold it through this huge red candle because you're stopped out up here. You wait, you take it on the next one, ride your stop loss up underneath this, and you keep going. It's really simple. It works really well. And right now, we haven't had that 21 EMA touch, and we're trying to break the previous all-time high. And there's a channel that we've been trading in, for the entirety of the recovery, and we broke out of it, and it makes sense to retest it. Like it just does. So we can retest that channel right here along with our 58K mark and our 21 EMA. Like this whole zone down here would just be an amazing buying opportunity in my opinion. So I'm personally waiting for that. We got a MACD cross on here, which, is typical when we start getting, our first major pullback after the big rally before we actually break all-time highs and start heading where I think we're going, which is going to be, somewhere up in this range here. So plan still remains the same. I think we can take advantage of this dip. And if it gives me 58K, then yeah, I'm going to start buying. I'll buy a little more Bitcoin, but I'm probably going to buy the majority of it in Ethereum and some other altcoins that I like. Because this chart is telling me that it's holding the 0.5 still. And this is total 3, which is the entire altcoin market, subtract stablecoins, and divided by Bitcoin. And this just gives you how altcoins are doing against Bitcoin itself. Right now, the weekly EMAs are bearish, and we are under them, so that's not great. Could we get a move down to this golden pocket? Absolutely. If it does, I'm buying up more. For now, I'm just holding what I have. I've already dollar cost averaged, I think, 3 times whenever this line touched at the 0.5. So I'm still doing okay on alts because we're above it. And if we do get this nasty move down to the golden pocket, I will take advantage of it and buy some more alts. But until then, I'm just sitting and waiting patiently. I don't have any real desire to kind of leverage trade crypto right now. I'm doing really well with options in the stock market. They're moving better for me. I can read it better. And as soon as I see something that I like to swing, I'm definitely going to call it out and post it in that stock and equities channel. If I do happen to see something that I like for leverage, I'll definitely call that out as well. However, it's just very choppy and it's just not a very good market to try to trade in short term. You'll notice that there are seasons that happen in this server where, there might be one week where I call out 10 to 20 things. And then there's like a month where I just don't call out anything. And there's a reason for that. Knowing when to trade something is actually more important than knowing how to trade. Like knowing when it's time to just say, hey, let's wait a little while, wait for things to get better, wait till you can see something you can be more confident in. That's just part of being a good trader. So moving over to Ethereum, we're stuck in this downward channel. We tapped it really nicely. It happened to coincide with this 0.5 here. The bots are currently in a shorts mostly, and that was kind of my cutoff point. If I saw this kind of come up here and close a candle over it, I was going to be like, all right, let's just cut all these shorts. But so far, it's adhering to technicals, and I'm okay with drawdown as long as, things don't break. And right now, we're still in a downtrend. So I will happily wait and see how that goes. Looking at ETH Bitcoin, we've seen that this has been divergent for quite a while now. We got a nice big green candle back over our 0.05 mark. Ethereum could start taking off from here, hopefully. I think that it should. This is obviously uptrending, so our momentum is trending in the right direction, even though our price is coming down in a negative direction. So this is what is called bullish divergence. This is how you find bottoms on charts. When things look really scary and the FUD is high and Twitter's saying Ethereum's dead and Solana's taking over, it's usually your cue that you want to buy whatever it is that they're talking about. And so far that's been the case. The CME opened up with a gap. So we have a gap down here to about the S1 at 31.91. You see this little gap right in between here. So we could get pullbacks back down to, just shy of 3,200 at the very least this week. To fill that gap. Could see as high as 34.50 to tap the CME's trend. Typically things happen in threes. So here we have 1 drive down, 2 drives down. Sometimes you get that 3rd drive down, and that makes sense. It's called the 3 drives pattern, and I shared that in the channel over the weekend. Sometimes, though, the 3rd drive doesn't have to be a lower low. Sometimes the 3rd drive can just be a double bottom. So I kind of expect to see that maybe at the very least if we don't break this downtrend immediately. And that might be another good little dollar cost average spot for Ethereum. It's somewhere around in this 29.50 area to 28.50 area. If that fails, we could get a wick down as low as 26.60, which you can see was resistance here. Broken here, maybe it needs to retest. I don't know. I don't see us going lower than that though. If we do, then things start to break and we have a different discussion to talk about. Okay, I think that covers everything. Does anybody have any chart requests, questions, anything they want to ask me? Feel free to drop it in the chat and I will be happy to do so. Don't be shy. There is also a chart requests channel in the Discord where you can drop your tickers and I will chart them for you and just let you know what I think. Am I always right? No, but I like to be helpful if I can. RWN, that one faked me out. I don't have any anymore and I'm kind of upset about it. So it looks like, it's just in a range, right? So 28 cents, 27 cents is the high, and then like 17 cents, let's call it. So I'm personally waiting to either buy back here again or wait for this to break, right? Because this is such a large swing, from the bottom to the top is 52%. I mean, that's like, right? So if that breaks up here, breaks this R1, for example, closes a candle over, I'll hop back in and take this for a ride. If we come back down and see pivot again around 20 cents, maybe I'll take a shot at that. But then like these would be your two spots to average it, would be there and here at 17, 18 cents. And then sell up here, right? So since it's trading in this channel, you can buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here for as long as that goes on until it decides it wants to close a candle above or below. Besides that, that's really all you can get. There's not a lot of chart here. I know that this traded on their website, I think, for a long period of time, and people in the UK have a lot more access to this because the company is in the UK. Essentially, what's going on with Rowan Coin is they are providing solar panels to people in England, and then for using those solar panels, you get Rowan tokens back, right? And then you can use those Rowan tokens towards your electric bill. So that creates the selling pressure. However, Rowan also does a lot of buyback and burns of some sort. So there could be a day that comes where they're like, okay, it's time to buy back all of our tokens, and they this thing goes for a ride. That's what happened here. So I think it's got good longer term value and longer term potential, and I do think that it's something that is good to invest in at the moment. Is Thorchain's deterministic value true? I have no idea. I'm more of a chart guy than a fundamental guy, so that would be something you could definitely drop in the Crypto Alpha channel, and there's guys who are way smarter than me when it comes to fundamentals and intrinsic value type stuff for crypto. I kind of just follow the charts. Overall outlook on Dino coins if we recover uptrend like Matic. I don't know what a Dino coin is. Dino. Quant this cycle based on performance of this dip. I'm not sure I understand your question. But quant, I can do quant for sure. Oh, okay, like dinosaurs. Got it. See, I'm not smart, see. So yeah, they're definitely going to be less. Typically, the older coins are less multiples you get on them, right? Like they don't multiply as well as the newer altcoins, and that's mostly because the team is selling the crap out of them for a really long time, which is likely what's happening with Link. I thought Link had a good shot to get up into that golden pocket. It like peaked in there for a tiny bit and then sold off. So Matic and these others are basically the same way, I think. I think they just have an increased amount of selling pressure. And I think the layer 2 industry as a whole is pretty much screwed as far as like value goes in investing because they've just diluted the crap out of the market. Like, how many layer 2s do you need? Nobody can seem to pick which one's going to be dominant. You got ARB, you got Matic, you got OP. I'm pretty sure there's other ones too. So when it was just Matic, yeah, like this is what happens, right? Like there's only one guy in the game and it can go crazy. But now we have so many players in this market that I don't think layer 2s are really going to be anything substantial moving forward unless there's something that separates them from the rest in a unique and innovative way. And so I don't currently see that happening with any of these three, Matic and ARB and Optimism. Chart wise, this needs to break it back above the triangle and get above 96 cents for Matic to be anything that I'm going to be like jumping up and down for again. And if we break back below here, I'm just going to cut it. So 53 cents doesn't hold, then I'm out and moving on to something else. My wife wants to know about Nvidia. Nvidia is a monster. Let's use this one. So, as much as I've tried to chart this, I've really only been successful recently scalping it, but this is now looking like it wants to go bullish on the daily again after being bearish for a very short period of time. The weekly is, we closed the candle underneath, and then we had a huge candle last week again to bring us all the way back up. Maybe that continues. Maybe it, drops another one again, and then green, and then kind of creates this like little triangle thing going on here. We'll need a little bit more data to be sure. MACD hasn't yet crossed bearish. We'll see what happens when this candle opens tomorrow. If it does or not, it might. And if that's the case, then when the MACD crosses bearish, just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like, it kind of starts looking like this last time, right? So it could just chop sideways for a while before it actually decides which direction it will go from there, at which point we'll wait for a cross on the weekly for bearish. And for bullish, we'll just have to wait and see if, there's not even any pivots to use on the weekly anymore. So there's really nothing left to help determine upside other than maybe draw a trend line from its historic tops and see that that's where we are, right? So that could be saying, all right, it's time to cool off. I myself sold all of my Nvidia. We had it in the Discord from 180, so I'm perfectly happy having sold that at such a high multiple and just kind of letting that go. I don't need it anymore. I've made so much on it that I'm not going to continue to be greedy. One day, we'll have a year where it does this again, and then I'll buy it back up, and that might be a couple years from now. Who knows? Arrow. Where are you? There you are. All right, so those are no longer useful. Daily's crossing bearish. We're back on the pivot here. So that might not be a bad place to try to DCA, but we did close below the pivot, so that's not ideal. If we can break back over 125, then I'd say maybe try it and then keep your stops to 120. If you want to kind of add to it, it just went so high so fast. I think I had an alert up here. You asked me last week, and I think I had an alert saying if it broke there, then I would buy it back. That's that $2 mark. But I took profits on it, and I definitely took profits too early, but I did make money on it. I think I took it from 30 cents to $1 something. So I was happy with that. The way that I approach the market is I want to get in these alts and get out of them and at least make my money back, and then have a bag left to just let it sit and see what happens. Because they're so volatile. You can be up so big and then just round trip the whole damn thing, right? And that sucks when you round trip something that you were up 100% on, right? If I see 100% on something, I'm selling half and I'm keeping half, and now my cost basis is 0, and I have a free bag of whatever it is, and I can just move on to the next thing I like and try to repeat that process. And then by the end of the entire bull market, those free bags are likely now 400% higher, and I can just cash out and have a nice cycle. So I definitely encourage profit taking, especially if you've been in this for a while. As far as where this is going short term, we can take this low to this high, and basically this needs to hold 108 at the very least. It might be a good place to buy there, or again, if we can get back up over and close the daily candle over that pivot. If it breaks this mark here, then it can fall pretty quickly down to the 0.5. You can see that was the resistance back here. So you have these levels to kind of play with. 108 is going to be the line in the sand that needs to hold if we do head back down there, and that would be where it might be a good idea to buy a little bit, keep your stop loss tight, because if it falls, it's going to fall pretty quickly down here. Tesla. So I just recently bought some more Tesla, and it's my long term, right? So the short term stuff doesn't bother me. And the only way I would consider cutting it is if it fell down underneath $100. My first long-term purchase was down here at 108. My second one was in this gap here, and it filled the gap, which is what I wanted. I actually wanted this to hit the gap here for my second purchase, and I never got it, so I waited a really long time for my gap to get filled, right? And it finally did it. So I was like, all right, it filled my gap. I got to buy it. Like, that was my plan, and so I stuck to it. And there's the gap right there, by the way. So we bounced pretty good from that gap and got a little bit of like a V-shaped recovery almost. It didn't really continue that downtrend here that you can see. It got past it, right? So like it got through that. Closed the candle over, so I like how it did that. And then now I'm basically just going to watch this 163 area to hold. And you can see how this was all support here. Failed, reclaimed, and now 163 needs to hold again. If it fails again, then I'm going to just short scalp Tesla if 163 fails. And I'll short scalp it down to 153 and call it a day. I'm not going to try to push that any further because I do think that we're getting close to a bottom here. At least short term. Hope that helps, right? You can even extend this trend up here and see, let me get rid of all that crap, and see that we broke it. Right, so I mean, didn't break it by much, but it broke it. So I'm gonna, use that as my confidence that this is going to continue to, start an uptrend of sorts here in the next few weeks. NMT. Okay, crypto. Is that it? Let's do this one. So that doesn't look great. That would definitely be a sell for me. If this is the correct token, I might not be looking at the right token. Okay, maybe this is it. This looks better. Is it NFT Mart? Can you confirm that that's correct? So there's a Netmind and an NFT Mart. Which one are we doing? Maybe neither. Netmind, but there's more chart history, I believe. Okay, so I tried that one. Let's try that one. Well, I only see those two options unless there's one on. Let's look at that one. I don't know if that's it or not. Doesn't look like there's a lot of liquidity on that one. So if there's a deck screener one that has more to it, please post that in the chart requests channel, and I'll definitely take a look at that if there's more history. But at the moment, this doesn't look good. This looks short to me. EMAs are definitely bearish on the daily. There's not enough history really for a weekly. So as far as this goes, this is definitely a sell for me until it can get over both those EMAs and give me at least a bullish cross. Base layer 2 is my fave. Yeah, are we talking about layer 2s? Yeah, I need to know more about that so I can figure out if, like Lorem, is there something about the base layer 2s that is more innovative or more unique than our average layer 2s? While he's answering that question, I will look at GE. It's GE Aerospace now? Has it always been aerospace? Good lord, this thing just does not stop. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with that. That looks great. So it's definitely straight up though. It'll definitely bite you in the ass. If you're already holding this, then yeah, you just keep holding. We're approaching that 786, so we're likely going to see some resistance at 173.50 as it gets into this trading zone up here. But if it breaks 173.51, then that can just keep going. You can see that this goes and just keeps going. So if we're about to like head into this situation again, then yeah, this could be very good. And I don't know, I don't have anything against GE. I think it's not going anywhere. Definitely a huge company. So this could just be a multi-year consolidation that is now breaking out. I like that it's broken this trend here. Like this trend started in the year 2000. And that is a clear trend break. The only thing I don't like is that we didn't really get a sell-off yet from the golden pocket, so it is very likely that we get a pretty significant retrace from that 786, at least back down to 145. But then I would suspect that this either, you know, bounces on the top of the golden pocket and heads higher, or gives us a trend retest as low as here before it does that long term. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one because this is a nice long-term stock to hold. Probably has good dividends too. Yeah, not bad. It's $1 a year. It's not shabby. I like it long term for sure. Hope that helps. All right, so he says Base is from Coinbase with lots of users. Yeah, I know it's from Coinbase. Like, but Base doesn't like have a token, right? Like, I guess I'm just not understanding what I can actually invest in for this Base chain other than Arrow, and I think there's a Velo. Besides those, like, how do you invest in Base chain? You know, that's what I want to know. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time. I will post this video in the Weekly Outlook channel. If you guys have more information on Base chain for me, I'd appreciate it. Like, you have to talk to me like I'm 5 when it comes to fundamentals, so I understand, right? I do well with charts. I don't do well with understanding how crypto actually works in the real world, because most of the time I see these cycles come and go, and everything is speculative, and it looks great, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's a Ponzi, and then everything just falls, and then you got 4 years of hell, and then we repeat the process again. So the speculation is kind of what I want to know about, and what people think it can do, and then we can ride it up into the top of the bull cycle and make some money. All right, thank you guys. I will see you all later. Have a great week. Bye.